Hey, this is George.
Hey, this is Fred's.
This is Real Talk with George and Fraser. We want to thank you guys for coming into our special show today at 1 o'clock. But we have an actual special guest. We have a real live martial artist and stuntman on the show. And I've been waiting for this interview since we booked it. So let's bring him right in. Mr. Jordan, Rasta Monk,
Oh,
welcome to Real
yeah,
Talk.
how's it going?
That's
Yeah,
my
how's it going?
Going pretty
Yeah,
good.
I had
Going
to put
pretty
them
good.
on still. Had to put them on. Had to put them on.
Oh yeah, okay. See, Fraser, you was talking about the monk beads. I thought you was talking about the actual gold chain.
No, man, I'm talking about a bump beat, man. Them thing nice.
Okay, okay, okay. Um,
Yeah,
why don't you, Jordan? Why don't you tell the fans a little bit about yourself?
yeah. So my name's Jordan. I'm known as Rasta Monk. So basically, I do martial arts, action choreography. I basically have done it for a very time. And just built up to where we are now. Created a company called CSE Stunts. Right now we're in Saudi Arabia building up some really cool stuff. And yeah, we just basically it's just you know my dreams have become reality. That's all it was from a young age coming up to now. It's just a dream, you know what I mean? So just living the dream and doing it in the best possible way. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
Nice.
So, I have friends in the stunt industry here in the United States, and one of the
Yeah,
things that they basically have said is the fact that they don't get that much work because a lot of the stunt coordinators that work for the production house don't look like us. So what they
yeah,
do is they bring their friends in that get a lot of
yeah,
stunt work. And then,
yeah,
we only really get like the scraps or, the
yeah,
leftovers. How did you
yeah.
break into that particular industry to be doing what you're doing right now?
It was quite simple. Do it yourself. DIY
Nice.
it.
That's
Um,
right. Nice.
just like for me, my parents always taught me to do your own thing.
Oh man.
So like for me, learning how to do it, you know, I've literally went and networked with so many people that basically were idiots and wastemen. You know what I mean? But it was only because I wanted to get the experience. Once I got the experience, then it was like, well, might as well do it myself and create your own thing. And a lot of people that I've worked with in the industry, they've all said the same thing: do your own thing. Because it was like from a young age, I always wanted a stunt team because I always emulated like Jackie Chan, and I think Jackie Chan for me was like the you could say the god of action, and
Right.
he he had his own stunt team. Like I look at business as models, right? So you model people who does something better, or you want to be as good as or better, right? So Jackie Chan for me is the only person that's really gone to the next level in terms of action choreography, being probably the second. I think he's now the second highest paid actor in the world. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? So you look at that, and he did his own thing. He did his own stunts. He has his own stunt team. He had his own production company. Like it's all him. Do you know what I mean? So it's coming from the model of that. He's the most credited guy. He got the most credits in one film ever. Like it's like sort of like that's where I'm at. Is like do your own thing. That's how I did it.
All right. Can I follow up with that question? So, um, how does the industry receive you when you're coming in with your own stunt team per se? Is it like
Um,
they always have to stack you up against your white counterpart, or do they come in and just say, no, he has the entire package, let's just roll with him?
I think what it is for me is like in the UK, you have what you call the stunt register, and how it works is that you have to do certain disciplines to get into to get in. So there's a few black people that is in, and they're doing really well. But for me, I didn't really want to do the register because for me it wasn't worth me doing it. I wanted to specialize in fight action, and that's what I'm good at. I'm good at the fight element, like bringing a story and then putting an action piece together, a fight piece together, you know, in the story. That's what I'm good at. I like to tell stories through movement. That's something that my wife taught me, like learning how to use movement because she's a dancer, learning how to use movement and tell a story. And that's what I feel that I'm good at. So again, yes, done a few films, but again, I didn't enjoy it the way I didn't enjoy it. So I said, again, do it yourself. And we're in such a place, you know, of creativity where we are now, that you have platforms like YouTube and other platforms and streaming services, even like, not even this Netflix, but other streaming services that you can put your own content on.
Right.
And I feel like that is where the world is going now. And you don't have to worry, you don't have to go to Hollywood to do anything. You can do it. I rather go to Nigeria and go to the Nollywood industry and build that, you know, because that's an opportunity there. Or now I'm in Saudi Arabia, where they have no movie industry, but they've got absolute billions that they want to plow into films. So might as well do your own thing, find where the market is, and see what you can do with it. You've got the knowledge. I've got enough knowledge that I can build. I've got enough network that I could build and build something of your own. I think a lot of people are relying on the system to give them the break, and you don't have to rely on the system. It's like you can do your own thing. You just have to have the knowledge. The knowledge is there. You've got books, you've got YouTube, you know, buy your camera. Like a lot of the guys that are in the stunt industry, they bought their camera and learned how to film, you know, and that's basically it. Learn how to do it. You know, you've got so much resources that you can actually teach yourself.
Right.
And the team that I have in the UK, you know, I've got a visual effects artist. I've got people that know how to edit the way I like to edit. I've got people that action design the same way that I do, and we just make our own thing. And that's what it's all about. You've got the platforms, just use it to your capabilities.
That is true. Now, for a person that also does film also and someone knows some of the difficulties in actually getting in the industry, if you don't know anybody or have anybody that can get you in the industry, like what are some of the difficulties you faced as in trying to do your own thing or maybe leaning towards making movies on your own in certain marketplaces?
The thing for me is that people, when you do your own thing, people have a lot of opinions and a lot of they have a lot of critiques. Like if you really wanted to, you know, you have so much critiques and opinions, why don't you do it yourself? A lot of people just they just do it, and they don't necessarily push themselves to do it themselves. So they will easily critique you. And I had a lot of that in the early stages. And I think one of the things that kind of keeps me going is my consistency. A lot of people have said to me, you've been at it from like way before. Like I've been on it for like 10 years. Do you know what I mean? While some people in the first 3 years or the first year, they would just, you know what, done this, I don't want to do it no more. Consistency actually helps to give you respect that you deserve. And I think like people that, you know, that used to kind of hate on me, called me, you know, couple weeks ago and said like, you've been on the grind for time and I have to respect you for that. And that for me is a testimony that you have to just like, when people do come to you and they speak to you in a particular way, and they try to throw difficulty at you, the only thing that you have is your word and the action with your word, and then execution on a consistent basis.
Right.
Like when you're back against the wall, like when you're in a fight situation, back against the wall, you have to try to defend yourself, and you have to push yourself out to continue your journey or your movement. So I think for me right now is consistency, staying consistent, and that's where the respect comes as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Can you tell the fans how many martial arts or what martial arts you've studied?
So I started with a Korean style kung fu from 9 till 16, and then from 16, so from 16 to 18, I did modern wushu, and then from 18 to about 22, 23, no, a bit more than that, about 25, I did parkour, free running. And then now I'm studying a style called Ai Chi Chun 18 Golden Classics Kung Fu, which is in South London. And my teacher, Monty, he created a style of Kung Fu where it's very much of the old school movies that you see, and just using that concepts and those concepts of training into a real life situation, and having the applications in fighting as well as choreography. So he always says, hit hard but make it stylish.
Right.
That's different. Make it look good by hitting them. Knock out looking good doing it.
You have to make it look good. You don't want to make it look rubbish or anything. You want to make it look, when you hit someone, you make it stylish, so they know they hit, stay hit, but you make it look good as well.
You hit me so well. I actually felt that.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, it's really not for the guy you're hitting. It's for his friends. Hold on.
Okay, gotcha.
He hit him like that. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Somebody got to be alive to tell the story.
No, you have to. So when you disable them, they say, yeah, you did it. You disabled them in style. Come on.
No doubt.
Did you pull the style you want to hit? I want to fall this way. Now I'm hitting this way. Even fall this way.
It's just the way forward. It's the way forward.
No doubt. But can you also talk to the money? A lot of times people get lost in the money of the film industry. For instance, here in the United States, you'll have somebody that goes, "Oh, I want to shoot a movie," and they'll think that they can just invest $1 million and they'll have a product that will come out either independently or kind of on Netflix or whatever it is. And a lot of times it's not like that. How are you funded? Are you self-funded? Do you have a GoFundMe platform? Are you funded through your contacts and through your jobs? How do you keep your train and your platform going?
So few ways. Sherelle myself created a training platform online, and so one of the things is that we teach people how to move, and I believe that, like, for me, is the most important is how do you get to train the next generation. I'm very much about the long-term vision, not the short-term. So teaching young people, teaching people that want to learn how to get into the industry, learn how to do stunts, do it properly. I've got, we've got a couple, clients that are working on big films at the moment, and they, their stunt coordinators are completely shocked in how well they move. And these are little things that are fantastic and great. So when it comes to money, I look at money in a very holistic way. When you come to a place like Saudi Arabia, right, where you are going into houses and you're going into places that you will never fathom how big they are. Like, when they talk about mansions,
yeah,
those aren't real mansions.
I don't know if there's another word for mansions, but they're not mansions. They're not even palaces. They're different level scale, right?
Right.
When you start looking at that, you realize how much in the Western world so many people are limited in terms of, you know, when you say £1 million
Yeah.
to them, they're laughing in the face because it's like a $10. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
It's not a meal is not that these like £100. Like the levels of money that is over here is crazy. So in my mind is how much do you think about the money? And what I mean by this is quite simple. There is so much money in this world that could turn everybody a billionaire one time if they really wanted to, right?
Right. Right.
So how I look at it is that I say to myself, all right, if I need certain money, yeah, I go to the right people that have it.
Right.
But then at the same time, I can do it myself. So what I can really do is, let's say I'm working on a project right now. I'm not saying it yet until it's come out, yeah, but I'm working on a project. But it's self-funded, right? But once it is like to a point of where we done it to a T and we can't we need that extra funding, at least can show it to somebody and say,
Right.
right, this is what we've been working on. This was self-funded. What can you say to me? Can you help us? If you want to help us, great. If you don't, then I move somewhere else.
Right.
It's so simple for me. Like, I don't look at money the same way a lot of people do. I think it's there for in abundance. So you don't have to really push to try and get that big break. You be patient, and if you align yourself correctly, then you will get what you deserve.
Exactly. So just think of what you said, like when you actually pitching, because pitching is almost similar to like a business plan in business. It's just the movie is called pitching. So like, what are some of the difficulties you have like pitching people? Say other than people like with money. Say you had a budget film that's small budget, but you want to actually fund it, but you want to start from scratch. Like, what tips you can give other people who trying to do the exact same thing and will help them out a little easier?
You have to ask yourself, what do you need the money for? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like people just say they want money for a film, but they don't really know why. They're just saying, I want money because it sounds good when it sounds great. But generally, like when I look at, like I said, Jackie Chan, he had no money but made some bangers, like absolute like Police Story. Put a bit more of a budget in Police Story, but he never really had a mad budget, but still pulled off one of the greatest action sequences of all time.
Right.
So you have to ask yourself, like, what do you need the money for? And you know, like if you need it for props, if you need it for this, connect with different people. There's so many different people out there that are willing to like volunteer and are willing to like help out. Do you know what I mean? If they believe in your vision. So it's again art of sell. If you feel that your passion, your vision is so good and you believe in your vision, people will help out. And then as well, that if you want to get the money, then and you want to, try to get funding, what are you funding it for?
Right.
What is it for? Like, it's all good having it. It's all good having £1 million, or it's all good having a 10 million, but what is it for? Why do you want it?
Right.
And once you know your why, then everything works. Everything works well. But a lot of people they because they say, oh, I've got £1 million budget, but they don't really have the right producers or the right stuff. We know like really good producers in the UK. Like,
Right.
if I said to them, right, I need X amount of money to make this work, they will do it. But again, I haven't asked them yet because we haven't done what I want in terms of my vision yet. Until that works, then I can say, right, let's make this happen. But a lot of people, like I said, when they see money, they get a bit giddy, they get a bit too excited, they get a bit too gassed, and it's like, calm down. Do you know what I mean? That's,
Exactly.
yeah.
Um, Still talking about that. Um, Independent. I know. Do you find it hard uh, pitching? Like for instance, here in the United States, we need things like sizzle reels, and we need, you know, every major film or television show has to go through these major production houses. I mean, even big Hollywood doesn't talk to individuals anymore. They only talk
Mm,
to big production houses. What shows do you have in production? What shows are you doing? What's this?
mm,
What's that? You know.
mm,
So on the independent scale, it's very, very, very hard to get that big push because here in the United States, everything is about big marketing. You know, if
yeah.
you want to be a superstar music artist, you got to go sign with MCA because they have that rollout of, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
$200,000 for the album or $500,000 for the album. Then they have another $200,000 for your marketing budget, and they have all these
Mm,
other things that are in place. And they set up the movie industry the same way. Like for instance, a lot of people don't know that the independent film industry is what keeps the actual big Hollywood alive. People don't know
mm,
that big Hollywood takes a loss almost on a majority of their movies. Sometimes it's only 20% of the movies that they put out a year that generate enough profit for the for the whole year of movies that they lost. And those are the movies that they sell. There's Hulu, Netflix, and all those other places to try to recoup their money. Going back to my original question of being an independent, do you find pitching the same way, or is it easier for you than having to go through the hoops of scissor reels and reshooting and sending short demos and everything of that nature? Because I know even on some projects, they're even particular about the type of camera that you use.
oh
You
yeah,
have
yeah,
to use, you have to use like a quality camera, for them,
yeah, yeah.
for them to even take you seriously.
Well, this is where I think as a black individual, it actually helps because personally, I'm in a niche that not many people are in, especially in our culture.
Hmm.
Action, martial arts, fight choreography, all of that stuff is what I do from day to day. Uh, yeah. So normally, I think that actually does help. Actually, for me to pitch an idea because for me, since Black Panther came out, it's actually made life easier. I'm not gonna lie. Like when Black Panther came out 2 years ago, it made my business boom. Like it blew up the business because everyone wanted to be like that, and it was the first movie that represented us in an action format and was pretty good. It wasn't like oh my gosh, like the greatest film of all time, in my view, but it was very good as a starting point to create content that is based on action with our own people.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that actually does help because since what's happened with the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that stuff, it really made filming for us easier. While before it would have been really tough.
Right.
So
Yeah.
coming back to the question of pitching ideas, a lot the good thing is that it's a lot more easier and in the industry they're a lot more receptive to seeing your ideas than it was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So that's what I've seen over here in the UK. They're doing a lot more, they're plowing in a lot more money in the diversity and doing diverse roles and whatnot, which is fantastic for us. But again, there is what there is more than one place that you can go. The world is big yet small. So what I mean is that if you find places that need what you're looking for, especially with your own people. If you're a black person, you have a whole continent that you can go
Yeah.
Yeah.
and actually, and
Yeah.
actually do your own thing and make money. I know people in Nigeria that are making millions just being in Nigeria, not even going anywhere else.
Right.
So so what I mean is that you don't have to be in the same place. You can go anywhere you want to go, you know, and do your idea and make it work. It might take time, but at least you have your rights and you can do what you want to do. There's not just Netflix US, there's Netflix UK, there's Netflix Africa.
Exactly.
You know, there's Netflix Saudi Arabia, there's Netflix. Like, you can go anywhere and make it work. But a lot of people, are you bothered to do it? A lot of people can't be bothered. A lot of people want to have something that's already established and then make money from it.
Right.
Sometimes if you really want that institutional wealth and you want generational wealth, you got to build something sometimes from scratch.
That's right.
And then you just have to just build it and make it yours. Do your own thing. So for me, I look at like Africa. I've got a stunt team in Ghana. I've also got a stunt team in Nigeria. They work. So anytime if I make a film and I make a film in one of those countries, I've already got a stunt team on standby. And it's because I believe in it. I believe that you can go anywhere and make something work. You just have to have the patience and the consistency to make it work. So pitching ideas, it depends on where I go. Because there's some people that you can go to, they'll instantly take it because they want to boost up their culture. A lot of people, like, if you make a story boosting up a culture, they're gonna plow in money. They'll plow in a whole lot of money.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on where you want to go. If you staying in America, you're staying in the US of A, yeah, that's great. Like, do you in it? But there's so many other industries that you can create. And I'm all about creation. I'm not really necessarily about you know, trying to jump on somebody else's bandwagon, because they all started from somewhere. When I talk to my team, they want to be like, look, Jordan, we want to be on a higher level than Marvel Cinematic Universe. We want to create our own universe that rivals and betters the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's mad. Like, you say that to someone that's, you say, normal.
Exactly.
They're looking at you like you're chatting shit, mate. Like,
right.
You're chatting for the bollocks. Like, no, calm down. But everyone started from somewhere. Disney started from somewhere. Don't matter if it's positive or negative, you know. And that's created, bought every single. Is a distribution company that bought everything. Star Wars, Marvel. So you can do it yourself, and you could probably do it in a shorter space of time if you really wanted it.
Exactly. That is true. Now I'm gonna pick it back on that one. See, I'm gonna get to that one. Now you're saying that Marvel, I'm a Marvel fan too, and also I'm a fan of making your own characters, you know. And I tell you, most of them started out with young kid visionary imaginations to bring the character to life. They had the fun to bring the characters to life, you know. And what I said about that, make your own Marvel. Don't call it Marvel, call it something else. But the fact that matter the creativity, like you said, to create your own characters, create your own base, you know, start your own culture superheroes, you know, that you don't have. There are many black superheroes besides Black Panther. If you ever know the story of Stan Lee, he even said he passed before he leave the earth, he was gonna make sure Black Panther was made, because he said that's something that had to be made. That's something that had a cultural statement had to be made. And it's funny how he made that statement, and it made him proud of doing it. So that's why they say people say Black Panther is more than just a movie. It actually started a movement. You know, it helped certain people. It highlight us. Before we couldn't get high roles in action film. Look at Wesley Snipes. He did a lot of black superhero roles, but he was also anti-hero. So he also the bad guy went into a hero. He was never a full hero.
Right.
So that Black Panther, T'Challa, was actually a full black hero from start to finish. There was no
Yeah.
backstory behind it. So now asking you, you had opportunity to do that. What are some of the characters you would come up with that highlights the culture, or would you just highlight a certain part of the culture and highlight it?
Woo. Okay. Cool. So, okay. First of all, and it might roll some people in a particular way.
Okay,
But first of all, we are all gods.
exactly.
That's your characters. The whole idea is you are all gods. Why is that? Yeah, you're made out of. If you look at the Bible, if you look at Muslim, if you look, it all comes down to the same thing. You are all gods, every single one of us, because we have the power of creativity.
Exactly.
Right.
So so when it comes to these beads, or when I look at these beads, people say, wow, they look powerful, because I say I'm on God mode, right? So the whole idea of these characters is to be gods. And what I mean by that is being OP, like overpowered sometimes, and sometimes show being overpowered is actually has a vulnerability there. Because in our culture, we really don't know how powerful we are. We generally don't know how powerful we are. And what I mean by that is that we have so much creativity, but limiting our beliefs keeps us down.
Exactly.
For the first time, if you know about the great conjunction that's happened today, is an energy of understanding that, we're transferring from one entity to another. Instead of believing in something, we know something.
Right.
So if we know that you're a God, why then are you going to be angry with people that's trying to suppress you? So the ideas of these characters that would come in is to show that you do not need to be suppressed, because you already are of what you believe that you are.
Right.
If you are suppressed, if you believe in that you're suppressed, then you will be. This is why, for me, flipping the script in terms of slavery is very big for me. I'm talking about, like, I want to boost my ancestry so much that I want them to know that what they died for, or what they done for me, I'm gonna represent them and create God mode energy.
Right.
Because what they did for me is that I'm here and I can talk to you right now.
Exactly.
That's what my ancestries did. So I'm not angry anymore about what's happened. I'm more rejoicing the fact that I have the opportunity now to make a difference.
Exactly.
So it comes down to the characters and what my characters would be. It wouldn't just be black characters. It would be multicultural. The UN. I call myself Rasta monk. The Rastafari was one of the founders of, you would say, now called the UN, which was called the League of Nations. This is our history. We don't think about our history like that.
Right.
But we don't rejoice enough about the history. We think about it, slavery, but then 50,000 years ago, you had Kemet, which was gold, and our energies of superhuman capabilities now is coming back. So we need to bring that into our system and make it work. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Right. That's
I'll be
deep.
going God mode right now. Hit it.
That's deep. But the thing is, we also have a lot of opportunities to do that we didn't have before, like internet.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
of the internet has given everybody a platform to do what they want to do and be seen. I've said it before, but the cell phone has really exposed what has happened here in the United States when it comes
Yeah.
to young black men dealing with police. Because until then, we always got their side of the story, and then the white culture be like, "Oh no, it can't be that bad. They
Yeah,
really don't have to go through that, you know,
yeah.
every time they walk out the door." But it's a matter of being seen, you know, and now they can't believe it because it's almost embedded in our culture as to what happens to us and how it happens. And so creativity, I'm saying to say that creativity is something that we've always been blessed with. You know, like we're always the one making cars out of milk cartons, you know, because our
Exactly.
parents didn't have enough money to buy us toys or things of that nature. So our level is always up there. How do you see creativity moving in Africa? And because I'm from Liberia originally, and you know,
Where
there's
you from,
always
sorry?
Liberia.
Oh, nice.
You know, there's always been in Africa where people be saying they have that colony mentality. So if you were
Yeah.
a Dutch colonist, if you were UK colonist or from France, you know, that's how they broke the continent up. You see what I mean? Do you
Exactly.
feel like we've as Africans, the entire continent, we've broken out of that colonial mindset, or do sometimes you run into that, like you said, you have teams in Ghana and Nigeria where they hit that colonial wall.
Mm, 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 this is powerful. The the thing that is you know when you talk about creativity is it's not something that you think about. It's something that's known. Again, talking about what is known and what you believe. It's not about a belief anymore. It's about knowing.
Right.
And what it is that you have abundance of energy, like abundance, like you have a lot of it, or you have lack. In Africa, as I went to Ghana myself, I saw I didn't see a lack of energy at all in that country.
Yeah.
Yes, people were poor, people were rich, but I never saw a lack of energy in these places. They just have it in abundance. They have so much energy, right? So when it comes to creativity, it's just a natural thing that we have. I think what it is now is that where there has been a lot of suppression, we are in a place now that that suppression is going, and you're just going to see a rise of creativity now. 2020 us to be creative even more so, because a lot where there was lockdown, you had to learn
Yeah.
to be creative,
Right.
Exactly.
and
Right.
and and for it forced a lot of creation. And I think that 2020, even though what has happened was bad, I think it's been the best year ever, because it's changed people's perception of what life is really about.
Exactly.
Life is not just about trying to go for the 9 to 5 job. People are actually waking up to say no more 9 to 5. Imagine, yeah, all your years and years you've gone to an office building to go to work, and
Right.
they say to you in one suit, but bruv, you're gonna work at home now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like where before, before you would never have thought I'm gonna be working at home.
Nope.
I have clients that are lawyers that are like trying their best to do things that is outside of their business remit, because just being in not being in an office anymore, it changed the whole perspective of what they want to do. People are starting baking, people are starting to cook more. It's
Exactly.
actually, and but then like I said, in Africa, that's like the norm, because they don't have as much,
Right.
because they don't have as much. Now, because we didn't have as much in the Western world, it forced them to be creative. While
Right.
in Africa, they don't have much. They don't know any other thing. They know what true freedom is.
Right.
You, So this is what it's about. Like, and that's why I say like this year has been an amazing year as well for that, to go back to its roots, to start over.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it really, really, really stretched everybody. You know, like I have a personal trainer client who would only work out if I showed up. And then 2020 came around, and all of a sudden he has to get up, and we have to train video conference or Zoom or everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it forced him, even in a lot of businesses. What we're seeing here in the United States is the fact that a lot of businesses going into 2021 have to have some type of business platform for people that are working at home. All of a
mhm,
sudden, working at home is not a profanity. Before it used to be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When people be like, "Oh yeah, sure, he's working at home." But now all of a sudden, because of COVID,
Yep.
you have to have a certain part of your business platform where you have employees that work from home due to whatever, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And you have to
mhm,
have it and make it work, and then that's just one thing. The other side of that is we're seeing a lot of mid-range companies say, well, look, we had 100% of our workforce working from home, and our profit and productivity was still going through the roof. So the next question is, do we really need to have this building here where we're paying rent every month? You see
Exactly.
what I mean? And still having that extra expense, or do we go 100% virtual now in 2020 and just rent an office space for monthly meetings and things of that nature? So it's really changed the way that the
yeah,
business philosophy has worked and going to
mhm,
work in the future.
mhm.
Exactly.
That's why like I went virtual. I was doing classes face to face, and I know a lot of people I'd rather do face to face. I just say to them, mate, that ain't ever gonna happen. Things
Right.
have changed.
Exactly.
Like, you think that, and if you want to do face to face with me, it's gonna be double or triple that it used to be.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
to be fair, and it's not being rude, but I don't really want to go out of my house for an hour to teach you. I really don't. I rather not, to be fair. I rather go on a video, you learn what you need to learn, and I can show you what you need to learn, and then you do it that way. You know what I mean? And it's a lot easier for me, and it's cost effective. It is actually cost effective.
Right.
And this is what I'm saying, going back to film industry, that's why film now is going to be so good for 2021, because you're
Mhm.
going to get a lot of independent filmmakers making coins. They're going
Exactly.
to be making money more than what they would ever do when it comes to Hollywood. Why? Because nowadays the creativity is going to go up. The
Right.
creativity is going to go off the charts. And now you have amazing platforms to make this work.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't even need to pitch it to an investor now. All I need to do is go to Amazon or Netflix or Hulu, and I can say to them, look, I've got this project, what do you say? And they will give me a rights to it, and I'll make my little coins out of it. They say,
Exactly.
you know what, I have it for a year, I can make my coins from that. Then I move it to another platform. I make my coins like that's how it is now.
Exactly.
It's got so easy. It's easier now. It's easier now, and
It's
that's what I love about. Look,
Let
look,
me
look
ask.
now. Look now. Sorry to cut. Like, look now. Yeah, Marvel. Yeah, are not even doing films as much anymore. They're doing series.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, and when you actually think about it, because they've made so much money from their films, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna make series now. And the same characters that were in the movies are now gonna be in the series.
Right.
10
Yeah.
episodes, 12 episodes. That's more money for them. That
Exactly.
is such a smart move. And they're under a streaming platform.
Mhm.
Disney Plus.
Yep.
So all of that is going to Disney. It's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Genius.
true. That what DC did. More DC partner with now. I think partner with Hulu or some other platform to do the exact same thing as Marvel did with Disney Plus. Because DC was already into the series, very creative and were very successful. But the movie wasn't as great as Marvel movies. Marvel series wasn't as great as DC series. So now they're both trying to get that niche in each other to help each other out. Before they were fighting each other, now they're more coinciding with each other.
Well, yeah, that happened
because
when Marvel bought DC. Once they bought DC, they kind of settled the rivalry. Then what they needed was a distribution platform. That's where Disney Plus came in.
this
If
is
you
what I'm
remember,
saying.
yeah, they changed the game. They,
So you're now in a place of you can create. This is what I'm saying. You create your own shit. I like that. Create your own shit. You have the capabilities. If you really wanted to create your own streaming platform and put your own movies on your own streaming platform,
you can do it.
Yeah.
And I see people have done that as well. I've known people in America that have created their own streaming services and they are making their own movies from their own streams.
Exactly.
This is genius. Like, I am so excited now in terms of what's happening for 2021 and onwards, because like this, I didn't even know there was a streaming platform that I'm talking to you guys on now. I was shocked, man. Like connecting with you guys, it's a bit mad because I'm like, hold on, this is crazy. It kind of gave me a few ideas in my head. I was like, But honestly, like, the levels it's changed now. Like I'm across the world and we're connected. It looks like we're like next to each other. It's mad. It's mad.
Crazy, right? It's amazing, right?
Let me ask,
man.
What other countries do you have stunt teams in? I know you mentioned Ghana and Nigeria. And do you have what other countries do you have stunt teams in? And do you find it hard managing your stunt teams?
Not really, because they do their own thing. So what it is that I'm building one in Saudi. I'm building like a little stunt team. That's gonna take a lot longer because it's a different culture and a lot of them are quite lazy. And it's okay, like they're quite lazy, they do their own thing. Nigeria, I know a few stunt guys in Nigeria that will represent CSC when I'm ready, and also in Ghana. There's a lot there, and I talk to them regularly. And I say to them when I'm ready to go and to make films, they will be there, and I'm sure that we pay them handsomely for their services because they're fantastic at what they do. I think that a lot of people, a lot like I want. Basically, the aim is to have different branches around the world of different performers and help them because it's tough. It's a tough industry.
Exactly.
But if you can make it easier, it's one of the most easiest business model, but the most toughest industry to be in.
Yeah.
The business model of filmmaking is so easy. All you do, you make a film and then you license the film and you make money from the licensing. But it's just tough because it's such a flooded market. It's really hard to get in. So you have to find right niches to be in. And action films is actually really tough to be in because to get it right, it's love films and horror films and all of that is easy. They're not saying that it's easy, it's easier. Doing action films to a point because it's a hard niche. And if you don't get it right, it's so shit. Like it's just so shit. So you gotta you gotta know what you're doing, especially when it comes to action.
Exactly.
So what do you? Sorry, phrase real quick. What do you prefer? Do you prefer doing a traditional martial arts movie, or do you like the bang bang, shoot 'em up, action, gun, fight, taking apart 12 guys when you're shooting?
I like both. I like both. Depends on my mood. nothing beats for me. Nothing beats Hong Kong action. Personally, Hong Kong action is the best action ever. Like, if you watch, like, when people say, I want my, like, you get it all the time. I want my films to look like John Wick, bruv. John Woo was doing it in the 80s, bruv. Like, he was doing the exact same thing in the 80s. John Woo with Chow Yun Fat. Like, they were doing the same thing. They were doing the same thing, plus more. Like, when it comes to The Raid, if you actually watch Pedicab Driver from Sammo Hung used to do some brutal choreography. I've spoken to like Richard Norton, who was, done a lot of films with Sammo Hung, and they were brutal. So when people talk about The Raid, they were doing it in the 80s. But what it is that the patience and the timing that they would do it back then, they don't have it now. So where a fight scene would take 6 weeks to do, people don't have the time to do a fight scene that would last for 6 weeks because of time is money. Well, before it wasn't like that. It was more about the art and the craft, and then the money came later. People want that instant gratification. So this is why I like to do my own films, because I can do as many takes as I want. I can do as many things that I want to do, and no one can tell me, well, you're against the time. Do you know what I mean? Because I have the team that I can do it with, and they're not going to say to me, no, you need to do it. You need to, we can do it as many days as we want. Do you know?
Exactly. So let me ask a question though. So you're saying that. So my favorite action scene was the Protector. When he walks in the building and sees like 45, 50 guys just breaking arms and everything. To me, that was the best part, because there's a lot of close-up scenes, a lot of camera work going on there, but it made it look so amazing. And to me, I think it's one of the best to me. What are your best action scenes, hands down?
I have one real quick, and I'm going to say this, Rasta, before you say my film. The Man from Nowhere, the Korean film Man from Nowhere. Right?
I haven't seen that one.
All right, good. Let's hear your list.
You had to bring that up. For that.
So I have a top 3. Yeah.
Hey, top 3.
I have my top 3. So the third one would be Drive with Mark Dacascos and Kadeem Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
That was that the last fight scene on that. It was a Hong Kong classic that was done in America. Yeah, that was to me hour, because it was before rush hour, and it was, for me, in terms of the choreography and action, it was way better. So that one. Second one is Police Story, the end fight scene.
Yes.
In the mall. Listen, the technical, it was so technical and it was so mind blowing. Yeah, I don't think anyone's beating it. No. To be fair. No. And the last, but my number one has to be Drunken Master 2, the end fight with Ken Lo and Jackie Chan.
Yes.
That whole 10-minute sequence took 3 months to make. Right. The whole 10-minute sequence, yeah. And Ken Lo with kicks was like so dynamic. And then when Jackie took the alcohol and he went mad, that choreography, even till now, it gives me goosebumps. Like that, I don't think there's anything that's better than that right now. Like in terms of like the whole dynamics from start to finish.
Right.
Got you. There's one part, you ever see IP, the last IP man, when the last fight he had, the last fight, and he walked
in the first one. In the first one.
First one, then the fourth one. They had a fourth IP for the
you mean
final fight
with Scott Adkins?
Yes. Yeah. If you look at, he walked in as a culture, trying to change how the military sees the culture, and not just art, but as a form of protection, a form of aggression, but he had to represent it. And you know, every movie he did the same thing. He represented 1,000 people to show his style better. And his movies, to me, always have a cultural imbalance or cultural uplift to show that it's not just about kung fu. It's more than that. So that's why I love that scene so much.
Yeah, it's and if you go to like Nigeria, you will see kung fu, the original style of kung fu, where you see animal forms, you will see weaponry, you will see there's some martial arts in Africa, yeah, that are so wicked, like awesome. You will watch it and you'll be like, bro, that's like like what are you doing? Like so to be fair, it's just absolutely crazy. It's crazy. Those 3 fight scenes for me are like my go-to. If I need inspiration for a fight scene, and like on my number 4, I have to put number 4 is Hard Boiled, the gunfight scene in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
But it was like it was shot like once. It was shot like one time, and like there was a point where when he went into the lift and they were all mixed up and moved everything so it looked like it was a new floor.
Exactly.
And then they started shooting again. Like the Hard Boiled for guns. If I want, so I have reference points. If I want guns, like really really good guns and gun scenes, I will look at like John Woo. If I want like a really decent acrobatic sort of fight scene, I look at Drive, or I look at Guyver, where it's very cheesy but it's got that Power Rangers vibe. If I want to get that gritty, I can look at Sammo Hung because he's very gritty.
Exactly.
So I have reference points for anything that I want, and then I kind of look at it and then make it my own.
Exactly.
Nice. Well, listen, we want to thank you for being on the show. We want to say happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do want to hear about this film that you're doing right now. So you got to come back and tell us what the film it is and when it's going to drop. But we definitely appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you being out there and doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
And we just wanted to say thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And tell everybody where they can find you at. Your services, like
if you want to find me, you can find me at Rasta Monk 1, which is my Instagram, or you can go on to my company, which is CSE, C for creative, S for super, E for elite stunts, _ stunts. So CSE _ stunts. You can find us there as well.
All right, brother. Thanks for being on the show again.
Hey, brother.
Thank you for sharing the knowledge.
Tell me where we gonna bees at. You want to give us bees?
No, we'll see. You see me? Yeah,
bees too. I want the power bees too.
That guy named China McCoy. He meets them. He was the stunt double for Morpheus in the Matrix, and he's a good friend of mine. And he makes these. So
inbox me. We gonna get in contact. I'm gonna get some. I want some power bees. Me and Joe get some power bees on the show. We go.
All right. Cool.
Thanks, brother. We definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Definitely.
Told you. I told y'all it was going to be a good interview.
I know.
No doubt. So that's our show, man. Don't forget to check out the Christmas show we have tomorrow. We have guest singers. We have rappers. We have everything. Now, listen. Tomorrow is going to be a 2-hour show. So starting at 7 o'clock, pop in if you can pop in. 7 to 9 East Coast time.
Exactly.
Don't miss the Real Talk 2020 Christmas show. All right? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, this is George.
Hey, this is Frakes.
And this was Real Talk with George and Frazier. And we want to thank Jordan Rasta Monk for coming on the show and dropping that knowledge. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.